Tucker Carlson not handling it well. And when you're a Fox News host who likes to dabble in far-right conspiracies and white supremacy, there's a really easy thing you can do to try to turn the tables around and get people to not sort of pay attention to the fact that Trump is looking really bad in his impeachment trial. Let's play this clip.
So what does all of this mean exactly? We're not sure what it means, and we're not going to speculate. We do know for certain that the known facts of what happened on January 6th deviate in very important ways from the story they are now telling us, including the story they told us today in the impeachment hearings. And in many places, the known facts bear no resemblance to the story they're telling. They're just flat out lying. There's no question about that. The question is, why would they lie about this? For an answer, think back to last spring. Beginning on Memorial Day, BLM and their sponsors in corporate America completely changed this country. They changed this country more in 5 months than it had changed in the previous 50 years. How'd they do that? They used the sad death of a man called George Floyd to upend our society. Months later, we learned that the story they told us about George Floyd's death was an utter lie. There was no physical evidence that George Floyd was murdered by a cop. The autopsy showed that George Floyd almost certainly died of a drug overdose, fentanyl. But by that point, facts didn't matter. It was too late. Cities had been destroyed, along with the fabric of this country itself. Scores of people had been killed. Democratic partisans used a carefully concocted myth, a lie, to bum rush America into overturning the old order and handing them much more power. It worked flawlessly. So why wouldn't they do it again?
Oh, I mean, where do we begin? The whole thing is just insane. First of all, the idea that a man, what was it that Tucker said? A man called George Floyd. But the idea that it was proven that he did not die from police violence is not true. Second of all, he said that scores of people died during the BLM protest. I mean, you use a term like that when you know you're peddling bullshit and can't give an actual number, because then you can be outright debunked. I mean, that's why Trump would constantly say many people are saying, or some people are saying. That's the phrasing you use when you can't put an actual number to it, because it is nil or completely a nonsensically low number. Scores of people did not die.
Well, I mean, score else? Technically would be 20, and definitely not scores of 20 people died.
Right. And also, when they talk about people who died at the BLM events, remember that they are counting the people who died at the hands of right-wingers like Kyle Rittenhouse, who murdered 2 Black Lives Matter protesters at a Black Lives Matter rally. I mean, it's a ridiculous metric when they're the ones who are killing people. I mean,
and at the hands of the police.
Yes, and at the hands of the police, yes. And also, we're talking what must have been dozens of events throughout just individual cities throughout the entire country over many, many, many months, where we're talking 5 direct and 7 extended deaths because 2 officers committed suicide after the Capitol, storming the Capitol. Were stormed, and that's the number they're going with. 7 deaths came from the Capitol. I mean, that one day that lasted what? How long was the storming of the Capitol? 4, 5, 6 hours? I mean, come on, are you kidding me? I mean,
he also called it corporate sponsored, which is perhaps a wink in the direction of the Soros conspiracy theories. I don't know. I mean, or maybe he saw that, like, you know, Nike put BLM in a commercial and took that to mean that Nike was behind the whole thing.
Right. But the Black Lives Matter aspect aside, the completely, it doesn't make any sense to bring up BLM in this context. But what he's really saying is he brings it up in the first half, is that the right wing is now pushing this idea that because this rally was pre-planned, which is being shown and proven in the trial, that means Donald Trump couldn't possibly have caused it. But they're just playing, like, they're purposefully playing stupid here, because, yeah, it was pre-planned with Donald Trump's involvement. Like the January 6th date has been going around for months. And that's with Donald Trump and his allies knowing about this. Like we now have from Open Secrets, they recently put out an article detailing the recent filings from Trump's campaign, his FEC filings, that shows that they gave money to the people, the organizers who put this event together. So yeah, it was pre-planned with money from Trump. What else? Oh yeah. Trump didn't just all of a sudden say, go storm the Capitol on the day of the Capitol storming when he was talking in that rally beforehand. No, he's been hinting at it. He was hinting at it, I should say, on Twitter, on Facebook for, I want to say months, honestly, but his Twitter account and Facebook account are no longer up to go back to see the exact time period. But it was definitely weeks before. He was talking about how this was something that we would have to do if the Republicans didn't get their act together for him and turn around the election results. And then as a last-ditch effort, he was threatening Pence to turn around the election results in the weeks before, too. I mean, just a few days before the rally, he said at a separate rally in Georgia that Pence better do the right thing. I mean, he had planned this along with the actual organizers who did the direct planning. Trump and his campaign was in on this from the get-go. I mean, come on. It's why he never would have outright shot down QAnon. He's been throwing wink, wink, nudge, nudges at them for God knows how long, since he was first asked about it at a press conference over the summer, I believe. This guy, or at least the people around him, have known about this, planned it, and worked together with these organizers to make it happen. Give me a break.
Yeah. No, he obviously incited it. If you look at the tweets over time and how they line up, like we played a video in the first half of that, it just makes me feel really clown shoes that in over 100 years of communist organizing in this country, we could not get anything that exciting going, but Trump managed to do it with a few tweets and a combination of spontaneity and organization. So joke's on us, I guess.
Right.
Yeah. I want to return to, go ahead, Matt.
No, please go ahead.
I want to return to what he said about the George Floyd death. The people I see really splitting this hairs there and saying that Chauvin was maybe trying to help him get over a fentanyl overdose by keeping his knee on his neck for 9 minutes, or the respiratory illnesses, respiratory issues. Like that comes from Nazis. That's where I hear that. I hear that from Nazis in replies online. And Tucker already fired one, but obviously, like, I don't think that was the only person with that ideology there.
Right. No, of course. I mean, Tucker himself is very clearly a white nationalist. And it's just absurd to me that anyone would believe that, George Floyd just happened to be having a fatal fentanyl overdose at the same time that the cop was putting his knee on his neck while he was screaming for his life. Like, right. Big coincidence.
The interesting thing is, it just came out, I think it was today I saw it, that that officer who put his knee and pressed it down on George Floyd's neck, Chauvin is his name, I believe you said, Matt. Jeez, it's been a while.
Yeah, Derek Chauvin, I think. I might be.
Yeah, Derek Chauvin. He actually had agreed in the days after to plead to third-degree murder. And AG Barr didn't accept it. I was just seeing this today.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah. So you even had the cop himself saying, I mean, obviously third-degree murder is a lesser charge than other degrees of murder, but it's still a murder charge. And he was willing to accept the fact that he played a role in killing George Floyd. And Trump's AG would not accept it. I mean, it's not every day you have a police officer saying, yeah, I did it.
Jeez. Yeah, and that was
blue.
Like, that what he knows he actually did was way worse than that if he was willing to plead to third-degree murder.